My name is Gary. I'm the co-founder of Doggerbox.
Hi, I'm Deanna from the Pet Taxi.
Guys, Michael J. Solar here, founder of Blue Line Canine Dog Training.
Guys, my name is Paula. I'm the founder of Clip It Grooming.
We fixed all of the technical issues on my website and really boosted my online presence through SEO.
Helped us increase organic traffic by 56.31%.
Word count grew 119%.
Excel Marketing has helped create an amazing website for Doggerbox.
If you have a pet brand and need someone to handle your marketing, Barnett's Pet Excel Marketing is the right choice for you.
If you have a pet brand and you want to grow it, I highly recommend Pet Excel Marketing.
And if you're looking for a marketing agency that's going to boost your pet brand and bring it to the next level, then look no further than Pet Excel Marketing.
I would highly recommend the marketing services of Pet Excel Marketing if you want to promote your pet brand.
They've made a real difference for us, and I can almost guarantee they're going to do the same for you.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pet Brand Podcast, the show where we explore the stories, strategies, and breakthroughs behind the world's most exciting pet brands. I'm your host Warnith, and today I'm joined by someone who's building what could very well become the next big thing in pet tech. Joining me is Timothy Jones, the founder of Pet Sleuth, a smart pet care ecosystem designed to help pet parents protect, monitor, and manage their pets' well-being through real-time location tracking, medical records, and more. Right now, the Pet Sleuth is in a pivotal movement, transitioning from pre-seed to seed, preparing for launch, raising capital, and building out its board. It's a fascinating stage where vision meets execution, and today we are going behind the scenes of it all. Timothy, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And, like you said, it's an exciting stage for us right now. We're looking forward to progressing. It's been an amazing adventure so far. And, it's been great. Thank you for having us on.
To kick things off, let's take a listener back to the beginning. Like every startup starts with a why, right? Like a pain point or a passion. So what was the initial spark behind the Pet Sleuth, and what personal or industry gap did you see set out to evolve?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like you said, everybody starts with something. Everybody starts with a vision or a reason behind what they do. Mine started back when I was actually young. Growing up, I grew up in an agricultural farming area.
Wow.
A lot of times, this is part of what we're doing. A lot of times I would find that people would abandon animals out in the middle of nowhere. And a lot of it came down to maybe they didn't know how to take care of that animal. Maybe it was too young. Maybe they were moving, transitioning, a lot of different aspects, and I saw that as a child growing up. And so I would actually take in a lot of those animals on the farm and we would keep them. So that was my first impact. The one that really impacted me to build this as an adult was during the lockdown for the COVID. We saw a lot of people not opening their doors and opportunities for when somebody needed it. I was a traveling superintendent at the time, going across the nation from project to project. And we was considered essential workers. So we saw, when we were going across, we saw that you couldn't find anything. That was a big issue. Well, it never really continued to get better as time progressed and everything unlocked. So we continued to travel across the United States, and we came to different circumstances where we had an animal where we were going across, we had our pet, and we needed some medical services. Well, we were not in the place where we were from, and we couldn't find it quick enough. The next day, we were not able to, like I said, and so me and my wife, we said, how can we make this better? How can we make it better for the people so that they have the information and the ability to find what they need when they need it? And that's the whole idea from the Pet Sleuth. Let us find what you need when you need it, not just have it out there, but actually put it in people's hands. Because that was the biggest thing that we found. It's not that the companies are not out there. There wasn't a database set for them all to be found within decent amount of time, especially when you're going from region to region. Now, your home little base, you know where everything's at. Your home state, you know where everything's at. You can accommodate for that. But when you're traveling 2-3 days straight and you have an emergency or anything, whatever it be, you run out of a simple supply. Being able to find those services or supplies or anything like that was very important to us. Technology, and today we didn't see the sense in not being able to have it. Everybody can find everything. So that was really what it progressed from that. Those two were the main things. Just like anybody, if you're trying to get on a plane, you have a medical emergency, you're trying to find somewhere to take your pet. a lot of times that's an issue. Even something like when you travel, even something like hotels. So really, we're just like to integrate it in, because 67% to 70%, depending on what you want to look at, of the population of America has pets. That's a big portion of the population that has what we would consider an extra family member. And extra family members, you want to take care of them.
Yeah.
And and a part of what we've done is we've actually been to places where we were going to take our dog for the kennel and take him overnight. We went in there and we're like, no, this is not where we're going to keep him. We completely canceled our plans. So that's another thing we want to give the opportunities for people to be able to speak out and say, this is a good place, this is a bad place. Not just hey, I found something on Google and I've got to do it. We want them to find the best opportunity for them for the longest life of their pets, all the way from the beginning to the end.
Yeah. And your background, like, can you tell us a little bit about your background, the professional background you have before this?
Yes, my professional background comes from construction management.
No.
I started in the trenches, deep in the trenches, just like everybody else. I worked my way up. I had the drive and desire to always become better, and I've utilized that throughout my life, and it's benefited me. So I started in construction management, and a lot of people say, "Well, why are you doing software development?" And honestly, if you have a basis in something where you are able to make solutions, make decisions, and have a quality output, which is exactly what I have to do. I've got to make split decisions on the fly. I've got to be able to design, redesign, re-engineer all the type of concepts from the project management, because I am the leader of the whole entire project. Yeah. So that has given me the ability to take and utilize those skills in progressing through any type of business model that I have. So just a perfect example, when you're building a piece of software, technically there's not one person that builds it themselves. You really have a team that builds it. The same as construction. You've got a team that builds it, and you find the right pieces and the right people. It's not about you knowing everything. It's about putting yourself in the best position to answer the questions and find the people and bring the solutions together under one pocket. So that's really where my background has been able to help me. And a lot of the advisors, investors, they had the same question. Well, why? Well, once I start explaining to them, it became big picture, and they're like, you are right on top of it. The mindset that you have, that you bring from your background, is going to excel you through this process because of your ability to switch on the fly, your ability to find solutions instantly, and the broad aspect that it's not on my shoulders, and finding the competent people to do it.
Yeah. And like at this stage, setting the right foundation is everything, right? So what were your top priorities when developing your MVP and like early feature set?
My top priorities really, like I said, since we were building it out of our own pocket, we had to stay within a certain amount of budget. So we really had to say, what are we going to put it in? Are we going to put it in a actual actual piecemeal, like a GPS tracker? Are we going to put it into an AI research, or what are we going to put it into? So that was the biggest question we were doing, is where we're actually going to find and where we're going to put our money in. And we had different options. What we decided to do was we would build a solid wired frame base for it, a structure. We would put our money into the structure itself and build it from there, where we could take and transfer it into different sections and upgrade it and scale it as possible. So that really was the basis for what we wanted to do. And it's been challenging. It's been intriguing. Most of because of what we have on ours is API access, affiliate based. Without having a big name, and there are some big time players here, without having any way in, you've got to find your way in. And so a lot of people say, well, how are you going to compete with Petco? How are you going to compete with Rover? How are you going to compete with, all these different companies? My thought is, why compete? Why compete? Why not bring them all in together under one platform?
Okay.
When you have somebody looking for a kennel, well, then they're going to buy something else as well. So when I started explaining it to them, they thought this is a great idea. We like it. We believe that we like the cross idea of the cross profits. Somebody's going to look for something. So that's really where it comes down to. How can we get as much in one place to get as many eyeballs in one place at once? And then, of course, started with, like I said, the financial side. Make sure you've got a good, scalable wireframe for your base, because without a foundation, you're just going to build nothing but crumble on top of it.
Definitely, definitely. And even like pre-launch, you have designed the Pet Sleuth to be more than just an app. It's like a smart like pet care ecosystem, right? So like
Correct.
how would you explain what the Pet Sleuth is to someone who's like just figuring it out, is going to just use it for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. The Pet Sleuth, what we did, it's an all-inclusive pet care platform.
Okay.
The best way for me to explain it for somebody is whatever you think that you might want, we're going to try to put it in there. And it's going to be put into, of course, like you said, phasings, of course, for scaling. Up front, it'll be the services. Whenever you do affiliate-based services, you have to have them in front of a firewall because you are not a partnership.
Okay.
So all that will be in front of the firewall. So we're going to put that in. Aside from that, really the explaining is it's pretty much, I've got it down to, it is an all-inclusive, all-in-one platform for whatever pet service you need. And it's not just tailored to dogs or cats. We have our pet database, which allows you to find whichever pet best fits your style, your location, your life. Are you living in an apartment? Are you living in a farm? Where are you at? Are you urban? Are you urban? Are you rural? So that's a lot of it. And that comes back to what I had said previously about what had impacted me when I was a child, making sure that people have the right animals in the right situations. So you're not abandoning it. It can have a long life. You can have a long life of happiness with it as well. So that's where that comes from. Just an all-inclusive app so that everybody can have everything they need at their fingertips. And we're re-engineering the idea behind finding the stuff. We're not trying to make everything brand new. And that's the biggest thing, I think, is what everybody was looking at is, how are you going to impact? How are you, Tim Jones, going to be able to make something in this? You're going to have to start with a piece. And that is just back to the MVP that you're talking about. Realizing that you have to scale it up. You've got to start with something that people want. Because I can jump all the way to the robotics, but if nobody wants robotics and it's 1/10 of what I could if I did like the services portion. So really that's what it comes down to. The MVP, making it buildable and scalable, but only releasing certain portions at a time so that we can control how it progresses, control the marketing, and control the way that we're implementing the information into it, so that we're not giving somebody a platform that's not usable, but we're also not overstepping our boundaries and giving them a big platform that doesn't have anything that they can use because it's a whole bunch of inadequate information.
And like, what are the early signals that you are getting, like the user feedback, partnerships, interest, like that have validated your idea? What kind of signals are you getting from the market?
Yes, from the consumer standpoint, we're getting real high numbers from the consumer standpoint. Of course, just because of the simple fact that it's ease of everything in one spot. From an affiliate standpoint or a partnership standpoint, a lot of the smaller, what I'd call the brick and mortar and smaller companies are really interested in it. I have a big list of them we're getting signed up on. The bigger companies, of course, want to wait for the release. So that's where we're at with that. As far as partnerships with investments and stuff, everything's going well. That's all going real well. Everybody's kind of getting on the idea. First, originally it was a little bit difficult to understand when you explain something in 30 seconds to somebody to get them to have the idea of it.
Definitely.
It took me a couple times to, redo my concept of how I present it to people for the investment side of it. You get a snippet. That's all you get. And so you really have to tell them what it is. And so I really had to get in front of them and explain that that what we're building is a big piece of software, and it is very inclusive, but do not look at it as all of it in a package at once, because that's what everybody was doing. Well, you've got a lot there, and how are you going to do it? So I had to start strategically breaking it down. No, this is what we're going to do in the first place. This is what we're going to do the second phase, third phase, and such. And then once I decided to do that, it brought it into a bigger, better concept for everybody to understand, as opposed to if you're overwhelmed. Be like, no, I do have a plan, and this is the plan that we're following. So once we got everybody on board with that, we've really, really honestly, most people were just waiting for it to finish the development. Everybody's just kind of sitting on their hands and say, hey, we're ready to launch this. We're ready to sign up. We're ready to go. Let's get the development done and then move on. So yeah, it's been good. It's been interesting going through the different, like I said, the different parameters of, the affiliates, the partners, the clients, and seeing the different ideas that they have and the different concerns that they have. So, but it's been real good. There's not been anything that anybody said or anybody's thought that would be too much of an issue or an overwhelming thing. So what I've found about it is I haven't got one person to turn to me and look like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So that's always a good sign, at least. But yeah, it's been going real good.
Yeah. And for someone who's listening to this podcast and they are new to the pet industry and maybe they want to get started in the pet tech space, how do you go about like finding investors or people or partnership? Like what the process looks like is like you outbound or you go to events. Like how does that look like?
You can't. I did most of mine outbound. I did most of mine just through research. Research, and found people, made connections with them, got everybody to understand where I was going. And then we found more people. We didn't get so much from the expos and stuff right now. We were mostly waiting till we have the app to launch to be able to have a product in front of them. Aside from that, you're really just trying to tell somebody an idea and pamphlets and stuff like that off of it. So we haven't gone through that portion yet. That would be the next phase. That would be within month 12 to 18 is what we're going out. We're on about month 9 right now of the process. Wow. But yeah, that's where we're going with. And as somebody trying to get into the industry, the best thing what I would say is decide what you want to do. Make that your priority. Decide what you want to do, what topic, what, like you say, what pain point are you trying to fix? What is it that you find? Is it a personal pain point or is it something you've heard from somebody else? Usually I found most personal pain points are the ones that get the stuff done. But find what draws you to this industry. It just like anything, if you're not drawn to it and you don't have a desire to do it, it's probably not for you. If you're just looking at it for the money, there's a lot of money in there, but you don't have you're not going to have the wherewithal to go and beat and succeed in the downtimes. You're going to have that failure feeling and the feeling of overwhelm. So if you're in something that you like and something that you enjoy, something that you're passionate about, that's a lot of it. Be passionate about what you're doing. And then be humble. Yeah. We all have to have people help us. Be humble about what you know. Be honest to the people that you're talking to. Ask for help. Just ask that. And people, if you find the right people, you'll know the people that you want with you because they're the ones that will open up and say, absolutely, I'll do anything you want. I'll help you anyway, even if it's not mine. Those are the people that you want. So be humble, find your vision, and ask for help.
Mm-hmm. And are these like the same qualities that you're looking for the board members of your team?
Yes, absolutely. And that's when we're building, because of the business model that we're running, where it is completely self-funded. Yeah. Literally, we're completely self-funded. You really have to, when you find your board members and your advisors, everybody, you have to have them. They have to believe, not just believe in your product, but they have to believe in you as the founder and the person behind it. And really put the time out there. Find people with similar draw, similar background that has the same kind of ideas and dedication that you have. Yeah. That is the thing. That's what I found. We've got I believe, an excellent board. I did a lot of research, and I was very fortunate. I shot for the top. When I went for my board, I shot at the very top and I worked my way down. We were very fortunate to secure 2 of them right off the top. Wow. I was very surprised. But that also tells me internally that what we're doing is we're building a good product. We're building a product that they can believe in, because when you can get people to back you off of nothing but your idea and your word without anything, any kind of compensation for them, they're doing it for a reason. They're doing it because they believe. And really, that's the thing. Do your research, find the right people, put the right pieces around you, because you're never going to build unless you got the right pieces. And sometimes you got to pivot. Maybe that person wasn't what you thought he was.
Yeah.
Maybe that, that sponsor, that partner wasn't what you thought you was. You have to be prepared to pivot. So what I actually did, I strategically built my board to have overlapping job titles. So when I found a growth and operational advisor, and I found a marketing and growth advisor. So I overlap. So in case there's any type of thing where there's any issue, whether it be, and I'm the type of person, I look at the very broad aspect. I always like to double cover everything. You never know when something's going to happen. It might be a personal issue, emergency. And so I always like to have a backup for that. So find people that believe in you, find people that are going the right direction, the same direction as you. Be prepared to pivot and be prepared to have all your background covered in case you need to.
Yeah. And with the investor conversations, like it's all about story and traction, right? So what part of your story or early traction are resonating the most with the investors right now?
I would say the part that's investing most, aside from the personal aspect, that's the one thing that they want. They want to know that you're in it for a reason. The other they really are looking at is what is your background? And being as my background's a little bit different. That's what I have. I've had it 50-50. Some of them thought that it was not a good thing. Most of them thought it was a good thing, or about 50 of them thought it was good. Really what it comes down to is if they give you more than that 30 seconds of opportunity, the elevator pitch, if you don't have it down, you're not going to get them. If you can get past the elevator pitch to the minute and a half to 2 minute, that's really where my wheelhouse and my niche is. If I can get them past that elevator pitch, I've got them in my back door. Okay, they're in my pocket. But it's difficult. And when you're looking for investors, you want to look for investors that are in the same niche. And that's one thing that took me a minute. You can't just go find an investor. Not everybody's going to give you money, because guess what? They might be doing investment in healthcare and they don't care about your pet industry.
Definitely,
even though they're looking at giving money, you're not the right opportunity. They're not the right person. And the caveat to that is, if you do ask for that person for the money, and that's not their wheelhouse, and you don't have a good wheelhouse yourself, then sometimes that can cause tension, that can cause traction between the two individuals with not being on the same page and understanding the flow process. So finding investors that are on board with what we're doing, that have previously done it as well, has been a big importance. And then finding investors that are willing to help. This is one thing I've said to everybody. I'm not looking for you to do my job. I'm not looking for you to hand me money. I'm looking for you to help me and educate me. If I don't want you to give me money without the opportunity of me learning from you as well. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the whole package. So if you just want to hand me the cash and just walk away, that's not what I'm looking for. Thank you for the opportunity, but we're going to continue with the process we've already built, which is a self-sustained process. Anything more than that is going to help us and benefit us. But it's very strategic. Every piece, like you say, is very important, that you put the right people there, the right people, talk to the right people, find the right investors. You can just spray shot out there and give 100 of them. You might hit on some of them. Some of them might say, hey, I've got somebody else for you. A lot of it, what I found, a lot of people, when they do the spray shot and they don't do it to the proper individuals, they get the discouragement. I did 100 people and nobody even said, well, why are you trying to sell a car to somebody who's building a house? Why, don't sell big shoes to a baby. They don't need them. So you really got to put it out there to who you're looking for, and research. A lot of people, we've got technology in front of us. We've got a worldwide library sitting in front of us. Just give the time, put down the TikTok, put down the social media, and give yourself a little time to do the research that'll help you in the background. In the long run, knowledge is power. Use it.
Definitely, definitely. And let's assume like if your upcoming seed round goes as planned, and like what will that unlock for you and the team over the next 6 to 12 months?
What it will unlock for us, the seed round, it would help us. The biggest thing that would help us would be the R&D research. So
Yeah.
we've actually set up our design and business flow model to where
Hmm.
we're going to put, since it's an affiliate based, we're not going to have a whole lot of personal products that we have to worry about. So we've
Yeah.
got it. It's
Hmm.
mostly going to be a high marketing budget right off the bat.
Okay.
Extreme high marketing budget. So
Hmm.
that's what it's going to go. Get the name out there, get everything out there. Then we're going to switch into 25% of that into the R&D research.
Okay.
Okay, and that's part of the plan. Whenever we get the money, it's
Hmm.
already set in the plan that they understand where it's all going. It's where it's all allocated to.
Hmm.
Mostly for us, it's going to be being able to accelerate our positions. Since we've already pre-designated it to build
Hmm.
on our own step by step,
Yeah.
what it
Basically,
allows
you
us to
now
do.
have the foundation, right? All you have to like build upon.
Right. Yeah. So, and especially with the marketing, if you only have, I'm going to just throw a number out, you only have $1,000 marketing budget on your own. If you can get an investor and you've got an 18-month runway and they give you $300,000 worth of opportunity to put into that
Yeah.
runway, that exponentially will
Hmm.
help you in that. But the main key is, and what I've got to realize is, you don't just throw that money out there. Okay, you were strategic with your $1,000. You need to be strategic. You
Definitely.
don't need
Yeah.
to be
Hmm.
so strategic that
Hmm.
you don't use your funds to benefit you. You
Hmm.
don't want
Hmm.
to keep it in your back door. It's not, for lack of terms, it's not your money. It's an investment to build you. So you be strategic with it, but you do go ahead and you press us it out there. So that's what ours is, mostly marketing and R&D research for the scaling and the phasing.
Hmm. Talking more about the pet wearables, they are also like gaining tractions in the pet industry, right? So, are you exploring future integration with third-party tools like pet health trackers or like smart collars?
Yes, yes, yeah. We have all that already in the wireframe.
Wow.
The integration's already in there. What we'll do is, once we find the partners, we
Hmm.
will go ahead and implement that in there. We went ahead and put everything in for the APIs to be in.
Yeah.
So yeah, full integration. We're going to have, our plan is to integrate first would be the geo tracker system,
Yeah.
which also the microchipping information. So those will be the first two third party affiliate based things. And then
Hmm.
the next, the one that everybody really looks at, and then that's where we're at in today, is the AI health tracker.
Yeah. Hmm.
That is, it's right now, AI is being a game changer. And I might be a little old school, but honestly, in my opinion, we've had AI for a long time, and it's
Definitely.
called
Yeah.
Google.
Hmm.
It's called Google. It's called computer computations. And so, in my opinion, everybody is fascinated with the two letters A and I.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's been around, just
Hmm.
it's not had that title. And
Hmm.
I've utilized it. Everybody utilized it, may not have realized it. For me, AI is not this fancy, what do you say, generated humanoid idea. It is just mathematical and computations for me. It is a speed of processing. Quantum processing
Yeah.
is really the kind of way I look at it.
Hmm.
So the AI really, what it'll help us and afford us to do is take
Hmm.
all the information from veterinarians, from people, and put it into a big database.
Hmm.
And it's the allocation, the ability to pull that database out. That's what an AI is. It's to be able to pull that, extract that information.
Yeah.
And then thoughtfully and logically, with a predetermined process, analyze that information. And once you put more information in, it'll start to build a database to where it can say, possibly with the type of animal you have, you could have these issues later.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's really what we want. We've got some other people we're talking about.
Hmm.
There's some big things coming down the line, I believe, for the Pet Sleuth.
Hmm.
We've talked to people about integrations of some the biohacking technologies and lifespan expenditure
Wow.
technologies
Wow.
for them. That comes down to the AI health and
Hmm.
the input of the information to be able to understand
Hmm.
what that animal needs.
Hmm.
And the beauty of it is, once you do put that mass quantum computing into it, it'll process that information specific to you, where as opposed to general,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
your dog actually needs as opposed to what that dog needs per breed. It's
yeah,
what you
yeah.
specifically need. And so
Hmm.
that's really, we're looking forward to that.
Hmm.
The robotics integration that we're looking to do, that is a kind of an untapped market right now. And I've got
Hmm.
some people that said, hey, you're going in on that. That's a pretty good idea. What we're doing is we're looking at the robotics from a compassion and I guess an urbanized standpoint.
Okay.
People maybe you had an elderly family member that had pets all their lives and they just can't take care of them, but they need that compassion. They need
Yeah,
that partner, that friend that they've had their whole life.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so we're looking at partnering with that and putting that in as well. And it's not giving the people the opportunity to have it. Really, that's all we're about. We're about giving the opportunity. It's not going to be our robot. It's not going to be our pet. We're going to give them the opportunity to have it, because if you fulfill people with joy and happiness and give them what they want, they will continue to utilize you. And so if somebody says, hey, you know what, my grandma really could use this, utilize this. So we go ahead and we give them opportunity to do it. That plants that seed, and then they're going to continue to utilize that platform back and forth for the e-commerce and everything else. So
yeah.
AI is a big thing for us. We're going to touch in on the robotics compassion because we see it's a opportunity for a market that's not been
Hmm.
overwhelmed yet.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that. We're some big things coming across the way for sure. We're excited.
Definitely, definitely. And for someone who might not be, into the pet industry, they don't know like what's going on in the industry. What do you think? Like, what's gaining traction? What's making this industry evolve? Like, why are people so much invested in it? Why suddenly this industry is growing and it's getting more investment?
Um, That's a really good question, and this is something that I've actually talked about with a few people from some. I'm not going to say any names, but some major corporations within the pet industry, looking for partnerships, and what we've come to find is there with the younger people and the technology, the urbanization, and then the caveat to that is, when you have an urbanization and you have a lot of technology, a lot of people become self-inclusive. So you don't have the big scene where a lot of people have to go out and find people in a community base. You've got the access to somebody right in your hands. And so what we're seeing is a lot of people are looking, everybody wants the feeling of love
Yeah.
and
Mm.
someone to
Mm.
come home to. So a lot of younger people are actually moving towards the pet industry to fulfill that spot, that blank spot in their lives,
Wow.
because maybe they're too busy. Maybe they've got a lot of work going. They don't live in a place
Mm.
between that and,
Mm.
different things where we have kind of isolated ourselves a little bit as a society.
Okay.
That really has blossomed the need for pets. And that's really what we're seeing. And we're seeing a continued path in it. It's been about a 5-year path you can see the population going down, the human population subsiding, and the pet population increasing.
Yeah. Mm. Definitely. Talking more about your mission beyond the convenience, like it's also about Pet Sleuth is also about making a real impact, right? So how is the Pet Sleuth addressing issues like lost pet recovery, access to emergency care, or undeserved pet parents?
Yes, that's a great question. Aside from having everything in one place, it's important to give everybody what they want, and anybody that knows. And it doesn't matter if you ran out of your house to go to work in the morning and your cat jumped out, your dog jumped out, or you come home and they're gone. That fear, like you said, that panic of a lost pet. It's because they are literally a 10 to 15-year-old member of the family.
Yeah.
You feel that draw. You feel
Mm, mm, mm.
that fear.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yes, absolutely. Pet tracking is absolutely one of the things that we're
Mm, mm,
implementing. We are looking at building
mm,
a chip,
mm,
biomedical chip, also implant to put in to be able to do that. It will integrate the GPS
mm.
portion, the geofencing as well.
Okay,
Um,
wow.
but the microchipping, it'll have it all underneath one. Until we can get to that point, and that's R&D research, we're
Mm.
going to go with the the non-invasive, the wearable styles.
Yeah.
But yes, everything, anything like that we're working on. That is one of the things that's the first thing that we're going to do in our R&D research will be the GPS system, because we do want to add those extra biohacking implements into it. And a lot of people right now, it's just for the tracking. What we would like to do is do that. And and this is a great thing about software, is once you have your base, you can literally scale it to different things. So if you want to use it for pets, you could scale it for all different kinds of humans. You could scale it for agricultural use. You could scale it for asset management. All kinds of things. So really, the broad aspect. Once you get your structure built, it's amazing what you can do with it. But yeah, to answer your question, the tracking, the lost pets, very important. The biggest thing we found, and this is why we want to do it, is there's options out there. You've got different chip manufacturers and different tracking manufacturers. If we could get them all underneath the one umbrella, that's really what we're looking for. And right now, there's a company, a pet chip company, that in America that is shut down. So there's a big, I think it's, and don't quote me, but I think it's about 4 million pet owners can no longer access their pet chip information because it's shut down. So there's other companies trying to pick up that opportunity. But you see stuff like that. And so that's why really we're looking at having a big database, because if some company goes down, back to what I was talking about, always making sure you cover yourself. If something goes down, we want to be able to give those people the opportunity to find a different avenue to flow as well. So yeah, the technology of finding and keeping your pets close and secure and knowing where they're at, especially if you're out of town. If you're on a trip or something, you want to be able to know, is that pet with the person I left it? Is it at the kennel? Stuff like that. Maybe not so much the kennel, but if you leave it with the neighbor, or the neighbor's letting your dog out or something like that. Did the dog run? Does the neighbor going to call you? You at least know that information, but that's a very important, and with the technology that we have, with the satellites, with cell towers and everything getting smaller, we're looking to not only do GPS, but also satellite technology through cell service as well.
Wow.
So it's evolving quickly, and we're right there and we're pushing it. So.
Definitely. Talking a bit about the marketing side of things. Currently, as after the funding, how are you planning to spread the word out about Pet Sleuth? What's the plan with the marketing? How are you going to implement it?
Yes, the plan with the marketing is we're going to start local. We're going to start regional. We're in Florida and Tampa, St. Petersburg region. We've got about 3 to 6 million population in this region, so that'll be a good database. We're going to start at our home.
Okay.
We're going to get a good database there. We're going to expand to the Florida region, which is approximately 12 to 15 million people, I believe, in the state, and that's only one of 50. So once we get our home base set and expand into our own state, and then we can start expanding forward. Really, what we're looking at, definitely not mass. I would say definitely not mass television marketing because of the cost of it.
Cost is going to be huge. Yeah.
Yes, the cost. We're looking at more the smaller, the social media style marketings, stuff like that. Really, what we're something that is old school that we're looking at getting into, that people say that it is starting to come back again, is the outreach through email. Actually, that's something that I hear a lot about, and I've been hearing about that it's actually starting to become a better way to contact people. I guess a lot of it is, and this is how it was explained to me, when you are advertising through any kind of social media or quick turn advertisement. In other words, it's not stuck on the television. They can literally flip it, click it, smooth, run away, flip you down. If you invest a lot of money in that without the actual people stopping to view it, you really have to pay attention to what niche you're putting it in. Are you putting it on TikTok? Are you putting it on LinkedIn? Are you putting it on Facebook or whatever it is? You really got to pay attention to what you're putting it in. They said, so if you could go and price wise to do email marketing is exceptionally lower.
Definitely. Yeah.
Your broad space that you could get, and that's really what we're looking at just for financial. But staying local, staying small to
Yeah.
begin with, build your base. Just kind of like with the app, build our base and expand out, and allow people to talk. What we're looking at is we're going to try to partner with adoption. We're going to sponsor adoption opportunities here. A big population here. So if we could partner with it and just, I'm just going to throw out a number for a simple fact. If you can put out $1,000 and sponsor a whole adoption for a day, if you can bring in 500 people, 200 people, just not even to buy, but just to sign up,
Yeah.
and then those
basically you
people
can remarket those people.
and then those people tell somebody, yes. So word of mouth, start at your home base, expand with intention and with sight of where your finances are actually going. You really got to, for us, we really got to maintain and be sure that we're putting it in the right spot. Everybody wants to try to throw something on iHeartRadio or television or whatever. I mean, great. If you can do that and you want to put that $20,000 out for that 15-second spot, great. That's awesome. But for us, it's not the way to go.
Definitely. So like, what do you think, like what one specific message you are going to go out with, like, because since Pet Sleuth is all, it's a lot of services, right? But like what one specific message you're going to put out in the market that you feel like that pet parent are going to, resonate with?
I would say, honestly, the one thing, I mean, aside from our slogan, every pet, every clue, one solution, aside from that, really, I think in my opinion, it's the services. The services side is really where you're going to get, because that's where you get the cross profit margin. When somebody comes and looks for a kennel, but they also find a groomer and they also find a new, a new pet toy that they want. So really, that's where it's for us. It's about the services side. Once you get the services side done and you get the people on board, not everybody's going to want AI. Everybody trusts AI. Not everybody's going to want a robot. Not everybody's going to want to get tracked. But everybody needs services.
Yeah. And many listeners tuning in are also like in the early stage of building something, right? So what's been the most eye-opening or unexpected part of your founder journey so far?
For us here, I would say the most eye-opening thing, and you're probably going to laugh about this, the most eye-opening thing for me is the legal requirements and data requirements for something like this. Even though we are an affiliate based, where most of our transactions will go through the third party. Just the requirements for something like that, in my opinion, it's overwhelming for somebody that has no idea about it. From my background, I've dealt with a lot of legal already in my background. So I had the concept. I did not realize it was all inclusive. So even for me, from my standpoint, the inclusiveness is definitely a little bit of eye-opening. Aside from that, really, it just comes down to finances. The cost of things. You can't go buy a piece of gum for 5 cents anymore. Allocation and understanding your budget. If you made a budget 6 months ago, it might not be the budget you have now, and understanding as things progress. So I'd say between that, and then I guess that both comes down to the financials, really what it takes. I knew about the hours. I mean, I can put in 118 hours a week work. That's not the problem. It's the financial, because you can put all you want in for hours, but if you can't support yourself, support your family, or support your vision, you're really not going to go anywhere. And so that was the thing. Watch your finances. Be pertinent about understanding what it is up front. I had, like I said, I even had an idea of it. Did I realize it was that inclusive? No. So really do a little bit of research, a lot of research, and find where your finances go, because it might not be where you expect it. And if you don't understand that, it will hinder you on your expected expenses when you have the unexpected.
Definitely. And This is a question that I asked to all of the podcast guests. If you could go back to day one of building the Pet Sleuth, like what would you tell yourself? Like any challenge that you face and learn from it. What you will tell you for the first day?
Um, if I could go back to the beginning, the one thing I would say is the one thing I did have to learn and realize along this process, especially when you start dealing with investors and partners and everything,
Yeah, yeah.
is you better have a clear idea what your vision is. And you
Okay.
better be able to articulate your vision to the people.
Hmm.
That is very important. If you're not sure what your vision is, give yourself time to figure it out. Okay. And you can have 10,000 ideas, because honestly, between me and you, our idea was bigger, and we actually have literally scaled it down considerably. It's something simple as fact is back to what we were talking about. We were looking at doing a child game that teaches a child to be able to raise a pet. And at certain points, the mom would be integrated and say, hey, your child's ready
Wow.
for a fish. Your
Wow.
child's ready for a hamster, stuff
Hmm.
like that. But you get back to that child database, or the child security and safety,
Hmm.
and all that. And oh my goodness, the cost of that went
Yeah.
exponentially bigger.
Yeah.
So we really had to scale back and say, okay, we're completely eliminating that from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have a clear idea
Hmm.
what you're doing.
Hmm.
Main thing is believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. When the times get rough and you're on that 100 hour in that week, and you don't want to push any further, but you need to, because you got to have it done by Monday, because someone else is relying on you
Yeah.
to be done, so they can do that. That's the thing. Believe in yourself. Have a good,
Hmm.
clear path. Go back and focus on what you really need to do,
Hmm.
and don't be too proud not to ask for help, and realize that your first idea is not going to be your final idea.
It's going to evolve over the journey.
It will. It'll change. People will change your mind. You will change your mind. and it's about adaptation. It's about, pivoting. That's what you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot in this industry. You got to be able to pivot. You do have to be able to pivot, but you have to be able to pivot mindfully. You have to be able to pivot to somewhere, because there's no reason to pivot out of a place if you don't have a destination you're headed. So,
Yeah.
that's really the thing. Use people's advice. Everybody's advice is good, but remember, ultimately, you're in control of the direction you're headed. Everything could be taken with a grain of salt. Have humility, do your research, have a clear idea of where you're headed, be proud of what you're doing. And when people start to get on board, and when you start telling people what you've got, and they realize, you'll be able to tell if people think that you are off your rocker and out of your mind, or if people say, hey, you know what, you got a really good idea. And when people say that you think that you got a good idea, they'll help you. They will give you advice, and they'll say, hey, have you thought about maybe doing this? Let's maybe do that.
Yeah.
Or what about this? A lot of times, once you start that, it opens up opportunities for concepts and ideas that you might not have thought of. You might have missed that step, and it might be a very important step that a previous founder, which is part of my advisory board,
Yeah.
previous founders had. One of the things that we're going to do, just to keep our costs down, that one of my advisors said, he said, why do you want to release your app into the American sector? Let's release it into Latin American sector, where it's going to be more cost effective. You will be able to fine tune all your bugs, all your issues, before you bring it into the big time money market that is all the industry in America. So stuff like that. Listen to the people around you. Have your plan, but be able to pit. I would have never never thought about going to Latin America or anything like that. I did think about the Asian population and all that. Did think about that, because there's a lot of population there, and the pet industry is starting to boom there as well. Looked at that, but they said no, Latin America. And if it wouldn't have been for me utilizing everything I had, listening to everybody, taking the opportunity, I would have never thought that. And once I started explaining it to some other advisors, they're like, why didn't we think of this? Who came up with this idea? That's a great idea. So stuff like that, for sure. Be confident in yourself, be proud of what you're doing, have a good direction, have humility, ask for help, and listen to people, make the decision on your own,
Yeah.
because that's important. Make the decision on your own, but listen to what you have, and just to ask for people. I mean, just like me and you, I reached out to you.
Yeah.
I'm new. I reached out to you. If I wouldn't have reached out to you, we wouldn't be doing this right now.
Definitely. Yeah.
So every little thing matters. So just do your best. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to fail. Failure it's inevitable, but failing does not make you a failure in life. It gives you an opportunity to learn and succeed.
Yeah, definitely. Last question from my end, Timothy. How can our listeners support you right now? Like whether as early users, partners, or like your champions of like what you're building?
Right now, what we could do, more than anything, we're looking at just signups, get people signed up. What we're getting people
Right.
signed up is when we release for the alpha and beta testing. So that would be very important, because a lot of the services are not going to be there. So what we need is people to work through the app and the software itself to say, hey, this function's working properly. This function takes me to the wrong spot. Why is this button the wrong size? Why is that button this size?
Okay.
Different stuff like that for sure. It's sign up for the alpha testing and beta testing.
Yeah.
So once we get that down, just jumping on board and getting ready to have everything you want right there for you as we continue to scale and implement the different features.
Yeah. And guys, that brings us to the end of another insightful episode of the Pet Brand Podcast. Timothy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Great. And I will leave all the links in the description below so that people can sign up. And to all our audience of pet brand founders, CEOs, and passionate professionals, if you're in the process of building something impactful in the pet space, let this episode remind you that innovation and persistence can truly reshape how we care for our furry companions. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone in the pet industry who needs to hear it. Until next time, I'm Varnit, and this is Pet Brand Podcast, where pet business stories comes to life.